Hi, you guys. Well, it's a little bit steamy in here. So I just got done doing a whole video, and most of it I had this bloody thing on pause. When I went to shut it off and say goodbye to you guys, I saw it was on pause. So hold on one second. Can you believe it? You can tell it's a little steamy because I got a little fluid accumulating here. Okay, so now I'm going to try to remember what I was talking about. I want to talk about Iran. I want to see about Iran and see if we actually do a hit. So let me look real quick. Tell me about Iran. Is Trump? I see like a push, like he might do something that. Remember the Syria thing where he bombed a place where nobody was there just to make a point? But he almost has to because Netanyahu is all over him. But then he'll piss off Putin. Okay. Tell me about Iran. Tell me about Iran. So I'm going to read again, see if the cards show up the same. And when I threw on it, it was pretty much yes. And this showed before, which is yes. They will do a battle. But the thing is, with the battle, he's going to create more chaos. And one of the hits I got was that be careful with the ships in the sea. So I don't know if Iran's going to hit one of our battleships, but I feel ships in the sea being affected. But when I took a look at Iran psychically, they were busy. They were working away. But you know what I heard? I heard the people in Iran, the good people in Iran, say, hit us, hit us, do us a favor and hit us. That's what I heard. Okay, so, and then they have the opportunity to come out underneath the ground and fight. Okay. Will the Orange Blob succeed in extorting money from Fulton County? I don't see him doing much with Fulton County because the next thing I threw on, he's people are losing any attention towards him. He's dying. He's withering. Is this presidential address? So apparently, a lot of the Dems aren't going, and they're having someone substitute or as a guest, which is an Epstein victim, which is upsetting Trump. So let's see if he even bothers showing up. He's still upset about what happened with the Supreme Court. And you know what? They're not happy with him over their threatening. And they look at Kavanaugh, Thomas, and the other no mind as traitors to the country. Because do you know Kavanaugh more or less said he's king. He can do what he wants. He doesn't have to ask Congress. Well, guess what, mister? You think he's king. Wait till your butt is up there before the tribunal, and they're going to want to know where you got all that money. He's obligated to him, you guys. So it's really bad for Trump. It's the ace of sword in his house, which means it's so bad. They're saying, why is this guy even in here? There's nothing nice about this. He's very angry, and just keeps lying. He just doesn't know how to stop lying. My God, everything he says is a lie. Um, Someone had said, Curious Tola said she met Pete Buttigieg and he was so kind and thoughtful. My husband said he saw a white light around him. Isn't that the truth? He's a nice guy and he's protected. So I see a war or a hit with Iran, but what it's going to do is it's going to backfire on Trump. So I'm not quite sure if Iran retaliates and maybe hits one of our ships, or so there's men and women who will be suffering from this. And then I see America saying, oh, hell no. Yeah, Trump is really on the edge about hitting Iran. I see him wanting to do a lightweight, almost like that Syria thing. Remember where he hit Syria, but everybody was told to get out of Dodge so he could make it look like it was a big deal? Like he punished that guy for using poison against his own people. Remember that? And look, I hit them, I did this, but it was all a setup. By the way, you never hear about that guy. That guy from Syria with the big long neck. You don't hear. He went to Russia with his billions of dollars and then he disappeared. Well, we know what time of day that is, right? Just disappeared. And I hope you guys saw my story on the corrupt officials in 1946 in Tennessee who used deputies to arrest voters and hide ballots in the jail. And returning World War II veterans, fed up with the abuse, armed themselves, surrendered to jail, and forced the officials to surrender. I love it. 1946. Yep, it's fantastic. But listen, I got to tell you guys just a real sad story. So I was watching a Navy SEAL who's retired, and he was one of the ones that went down and found John F. Kennedy Jr.'s body, Carolyn Passett and her sister. And I'll post the link in here. I'll find it and post it. But if you got a if you got a squeezy stomach, don't. He didn't give all the information, but he gave enough that it was pretty bad. I've seen bad, but I guess they knew they were going to die because it was going down like that. So they knew it was out of control and they were going to die. But when they hit, with the propeller still running, it cut John Kennedy's legs off. In fact, they saw him sitting. He was still strapped in. His head was down. But he, when they went to cut the seatbelt and pull him out, his legs were gone. They never did find his legs. They said, I guess sometimes your body, depending on how bad the force is, your body can absorb. I'd never heard that before. Absorb your legs? But they said being that they found his kneecap in the fuselage, they figured that wasn't what happened. But they asked them to look for the legs. They never did find them. But, based on what he said, I mean, it sounds like that. It was like a can squeezing in on a body. And it just sliced them up. Literally sliced off half their heads and stuff. It was bad. I guess John Kennedy was more intact, but I never knew the extent of how bad it was. But here's something interesting. The Bissett family, they wanted a funeral for their daughters. And I heard Caroline, John's sister, wanted a proper funeral for her brother. And Ted Kennedy, for some reason, got involved. They took the bodies over for an autopsy, which you can't find the autopsy no more. I guess it got burnt. And maybe he talked to Caroline and said, the horrific pictures of your dad And his autopsy, why would you want John to go through that? I don't know, but they agreed to have them immediately cremated and put into the ocean. So I just thought that was interesting. So they put him out at sea. It doesn't matter because they're still alive energetically. They're with the soul energy. There was a psychic, I can't remember what his name is. I think he did a TV show. And he said he was in a bathroom out near Johannesburg or something. And that the sister walked in spirit. And he said she was very angry about dying and she was mad at John Jr. that he killed them because Caroline didn't want to go. She enjoyed it but didn't enjoy it. But she was afraid because he was a newbie and he had a cast on his leg. And he had crutches. They found the crutches, by the way. But anyway, I'll put the link in for anybody that wants to hear this guy's story. Okay, but I didn't know that happened. But you know, it was, the good thing is it was immediate death. They didn't suffer. They didn't lay in there and suffer and know they were going to die. They were instantly dead. You know, they didn't drown at all. Okay, so, and tomorrow I'm on with Sterling. So I wanted to ask about the presidential address. Tuesday's presidential address. Is he actually going to show up? I know that they're going to, the Dems, a lot of them aren't going, or if they are going, they're bringing one of the Epstein victims with them. And I want to send love out to you guys that anybody that's going to experience the snowstorm that's coming, it's going to be really bad. Somebody had asked, when do you see America kind of coming together at peace? Well, this Trump thing is causing us to come together. You're seeing more and more people come together. Yeah, there's still the uglies out there that think he's the king for a day. But people are like, you know, we got to protect. And if he does this Iran thing and they hit a ship out at sea or anything, if they cause any Americans to get injured or whatever, that people will be furious at Trump. Why did you use our kids for a war we don't even care about? And they're trying to tell him, you can't go to war with Iran without going through us first. I feel like if he does do it, he'll do it without anybody's permission. Because he thinks he's king. He's not beloved anymore. And it's hard for him to handle that. Just like this Supreme Court. Their families are so disappointed in them. Not as much as this nation is disappointed in you. And they go with the flow. They can be convinced of, well, you're describing yourself. Okay, let's look at this Tuesday night, and I'm not going to watch it. I'll catch the input the next day. I can't stand him talking. I just can't do it. But I hope they put the mics up so you can hear when he blows in the wind. It's coming up. Remember I told you guys, come June, a lot of people are saying April. Well, I'm seeing by June, it's just bada bing, bada boom. He's going to be out. I know we're going to have the voting and I know what's going to happen, but he's doing stuff that's really egregious and people are not liking it. He's creating chaos. And some big mouths. I see people leaking. I see a lot of leaks. That drives him nuts too. So, yeah, see, he doesn't ever have anything nice to say. I think a lot of people won't even watch it if he does do it. I don't see it being canceled. I see him actually going through it. Because he likes that audience. My audience needs me. Why he walks out with a cheeseburger. Okay. And don't forget, did you see that guy showed up at the White House with a rifle all by himself? He was ready to do some business. That's the energy I'm getting. Like, people are just done. And gatherings of people saying, we won't take this anymore. We won't take this anymore. Remember, I told you, he gets people to a point, they say, what do I have to lose? I have nothing to live for. You took away my health care. I don't have a job. So, okay, here we go. You guys are so cool. Ooh, don't you love that picture of Andrew? Hell to the yeah. He looks like he's in shock. You kind of feel sorry for him, but you don't. So, okay, so here's my questions. Thank you guys for all the questions. Okay. And we're giving all this money to Israel, and they have health care, they have housing, they have all this stuff, and look at what happens to us. They don't care. Look at these suckers. We'll just take money from them. I told you guys about that town in Texas that found out $4 million of their budget was going to Israel. It was probably someone within their organization that did this, but that started this. And they went to stop it because they could use the money for schools and health care. And Governor Abbott said, no, you can't do that. And if you do, you're in trouble for anti-Semitism. This is all going away. You guys, we get all upset, but I'm looking so forward. This year, this is all going to calm down. I think I talked to you guys about Michael Cohen. I didn't feel very good about him. Not horrible, just a nothing burger. Anything else on Nancy Guthrie? Nancy, she has such a bright face. I feel a really sparkling, beautiful energy coming from her. She wants this to be done with so her family can move forward. She said, I've been hidden. I've been hidden. I'm at peace. But she wants her family to have... She doesn't want her daughter to quit her show. It's so funny because we love our family so much, and especially if you lose a child, you just don't have any life left in you. But they really want us to live in their honor. They want you to live. Life is for the living. They always used to say that to me. And they don't want you to stop or shut yourself down. They want you to keep living on behalf or even in honor of them. Let's see. I can't believe I did a whole show and I messed up. Okay, a lot of people were asking about Nancy. A lot of you guys are still worried. There was a big pushback on Gavin Newsom being Dem presidential candidate due to his ties with big money. I still see him in the forefront, you guys. Tim Walz, I'm not seeing him run for president. And there's another, is it Bashir? Somebody who's thinking about running, but he did a whole thing about Jesus, and Jesus is my king, and Jesus is the one that's helping me. And not that, I love Jesus just as much as the next person, but I don't like it when they do that when they're running for office. And then you get this fraud in there that never even read the Bible, acted like the Bible was his favorite book, and then he announces he never even read it. Um, I don't like people bringing in religion. Like, that's how we should do it. Um, and I think they should be uh, well aware that there's other nations that have been part of this country, the Native Americans, Columbus Day, to hell with them. And I just feel like you've got to keep it separate. That's the reason we started the United States, was to separate church and state. So this Jesus thing, I like this guy, but when he started doing that Jesus thing, I said, ooh, you know, I wouldn't want him. I mean, I'm glad he's a man of faith, and I totally believe in Jesus for sure, but I wouldn't want somebody representing this country that would cram that down our throat. Okay. You know what, Carrie? She said, will the utility companies be investigating for bilking the public? Definitely coming up. It's about 2 years away, but definitely coming up. Oh, and I read on this too. I'm glad I saw this one. Gloria Allred announced she's filing against Hugh Hefner's foundation over images and information. Hold on. Kept on minor girls. And I see some of the minor girls coming to the forefront. I see it taking off, but it feels like it's stagnated. Why is it stagnated? Maybe the time frame, too much time went by? Yeah, he definitely had minor girls. Um, do you remember when, but you know who's in big trouble is Elon Musk. But do you remember when he was telling everybody, you have to send me a report of your job, what you did? Oh my God. He really thought he was somebody. Uh, I don't see Ken Paxton winning the primary for the Senate. I don't see him winning. Um, he's going to face Crockett in Tallarico. Geez, I really want Crockett to win, but I'm feeling more like Tallarico will win. I'm not worried about Crockett, though, because she's got places to go. But I do see Ken not winning. Um, yeah, I looked up, is it true, the rumor that Netanyahu has blood cancer? I looked that up and I was getting no, that it's not true. But isn't it terrible? We're not supposed to wish bad on others. Yes, Todd Blanche will lose his law license. Definitely. Absolutely. Trump will be deemed a traitor and illegitimate, and his pardons become null and void. I told you in his safe, he has pardons ready to go. That's why these people act like queen and kings for the day, because they've seen that pardon that's already signed in a safe. So if anything was to happen to him, it's there. And they're all riding on that. But what'll happen is we'll take this to trial and say, nope, no good. When the Republicans lose the midterms in November, how will Trump voters feel? Will they think the midterms was rigged? Yes. But there's not enough of them. Nobody cares what they think. Nobody cares what they think. Well, Don Lemon beat his case with the DOJ, yes. And I'm surprised it's going on as long as it's going on. I would have thought the judge was going to throw it out right away. There's something detail in there that they're worried about. That's why they didn't toss it out. But I do see it getting tossed out. And I was talking about, somebody asked about Harry, and Harry's cards look good. Right now, he's in a decent spot. But I watched, I don't know if you guys saw it, some sort of info on Princess Anne. And Queen Elizabeth tried to name her children, give them titles, and she refused. She said, don't do that. I don't want my kids thinking that they have to live and work on behalf of the monarchy. So they didn't receive anything from the monarchy except they're her children. And they ended up being beautiful human beings and very self-independent. And then Queen Elizabeth, which I didn't know, apparently Diana told her, I will give him the divorce, but I want to keep my title as Princess of Wales, which she knew would affect Camilla. And all my personal effects will go to my boys. Camilla's not allowed in there. And Queen Elizabeth, a good 8 years after Princess Diana died, she wouldn't allow Charles to marry her. She made her wait. And apparently Camilla's a little Rottweiler. She's just trying to push her kids in there. They were taken out of a sludge fund that's only for the bigwigs. And when William caught hold of it, he went to his dad and he said, you better get her out of there. And he did. You and your kids don't have a right to go into the sludge fund, and which really upset her. And when Prince Harry was marrying his wife, she wanted to get one of the crowns. She was looking at the different crowns for her wedding, and she kept saying no. I don't know how she got a hold of him. Did they get married? Yeah, they got married when Queen Elizabeth was still alive. So, not Queen Elizabeth didn't say no. It was Camilla that kept telling her no. Sorry, no. Because Camilla, somehow or the other, ended up with a lot of the crowns. And so Harry complained to the king, or the prince at that time, and Elizabeth, and they told Camilla, bring all those crowns back. They belong to the monarchy. You have no right. Yeah, she was digging in. But you know what? They live so fat. It's, I mean, one crown can be worth 12 million. What the hell that would feed? How many people? Well, I mean, they live. Look at how upset we are about Trump living fat off us. Can you imagine being in that monarchy and these people are living fat on the hog, never having to worry about nothing? So, and listen, these snowstorms and things that are coming, these are the things that are going to create chaos. I see a lot of chaos, weather related, but it brings us together too, because there's people who are saying, when are we ever going to come together? We'll be all so happy when he's out of office, but we also will bring our stuff together. We will make this nation rise again. No thanks to what's his face. Okay, so they're asking about a war with Iran. I'm not feeling absolutely yes, but I'm feeling, it feels like the Syria thing, like some sort of token bombing. That's what I'm getting, okay? So I want Jasmine Crockett to get a seat in the Senate. But that other guy is kind of, let's look. Hold on. This will be my last question. Will Jasmine Crockett get a seat in the Senate? Yes or no? And the other guy's name is Taliko or something like that. Get a seat in the Senate. She's working hard. She's so smart. She doesn't have the card of yes. What's that gentleman's name? Taliko or something? Well, you guys know who I'm talking about. Will he get... I thought I heard a man talking. That was my dog moaning. The gentleman that's running alongside of Crockett, will he win that Senate seat? He's trying to get up money. Yeah. He's more than likely to win, you guys. Which I'm sure he'll be good. But I don't see her career over. I see her moving forward. Something else. She already has something in mind. She might even go back to work as an attorney and then, you know, come forward, or Newsom gets in there, or whoever the new president is, and says, could you do this? And I was telling you guys, I don't know if on the first show I taped that I didn't tape, but there's a, what's his name? It starts with a B. Is he Kentucky's? He's talking, because I don't see Walsh running for president. But be sure. And he did this whole Jesus is King thing, you know. I love the Lord Jesus and all this. Most of these young people in independence, I mean, we can love Jesus. I love Jesus, but we're not like, that's just not how it rolls anymore. So when I heard that, I said, you know, you just wouldn't want anybody, even the gentleman that won in New York who's Muslim, he didn't stuff it down anybody's throat. Allah is blah, 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 you know. No. You got to keep your religion out of it. So keep your religion out of it, and you'll have a better chance of winning. All right, you guys. So I'll let you go. I can't believe I did a whole video. Love you all. Cheers. I'll be doing Sterling tomorrow.